Welcome to the Dare to Grow Show. I'm Sarah Morgan, and my mission is to help you take daily action in your business, show up consistently and confidently for your audience, and earn more with digital products and programs. I know you have a rad vision for your life and business, but do you dare to grow? Let's jump into this episode and talk about how to make it happen. All right, welcome to episode 89. One of the things I do every year, usually a couple times a year, is to check the data, the analytics, the insights on all of the content I am creating. Because one of the best content strategies is to repost your popular content and make more content like that. And because I just did this for Instagram, that is what I'm going to share with you today. So first, this is your reminder to look at your stats when creating any type of content. If you've been on a platform for more than 6 months, you definitely have enough data. So check that data before creating new posts. This will tell you what topics work best, what photos, what graphics, which types of content work best. On Instagram, you've got a lot of options. So don't create any new content without checking what has already worked for you. And second, just because these things worked or didn't work for me doesn't mean they will or won't work for you. I want to share this information so that you can get some ideas for things to test and learn how to look through your own stats and make decisions to adjust your content plan. So try some of the things that have worked or didn't work for me, but you're definitely still going to have to test with your audience to see what they are responding to. So let's start with the things that worked. Number 1, sharing motivating stories and experiences. Every year, I post the exact same screenshot from Facebook of the post I made the day I left my corporate job. I literally have one screenshot. I just dig back in my Dropbox and find it and repost the same thing. And every year, it is one of, if not the top post. Also really popular is the reel I made of me eating cake, literally, to celebrate 9 years in my business. Your audience wants to see you succeed. They want to celebrate you because they like you, they've gotten to know you, and because if you did it, it means it's possible for them too. And sometimes it can feel like you're being full of yourself to share, or it feels like you're bragging. Do it anyway. Just do it and see what happens. And it doesn't have to mean sharing only recent wins. It's sharing the experiences you've had along the way. So if you need to make a list of all of your accomplishments, all of the things you've gone through or worked through or figured out, do it. Get yourself a doc, write it all out so that you can just go back and repost that content every single year. You can highlight milestones, aha moments, things that you've changed for the better. This could also be sharing a before and after. Most often we see this in weight loss content, but it works for any niche. You can show off your first knitting project versus your most recent project. If you've been knitting for more than a month, your most recent project is going to be better. You could talk about the first time you learned something versus what it looks like now after applying that information, that knowledge, year after year. And it's also worth mentioning that a lot of those posts included selfies. So if you think about people scrolling through their feed and seeing a familiar face, they're going to stop and pay attention. So the more selfies, the more videos of yourself you put into your content, the better. Another thing that did really well is quote graphics. And the ones that worked best for me were actually calling out something that my audience is doing or thinking that they probably need to stop. The top one, which I've reposted many times, says, "You're better off annoying a handful of people who aren't interested than never offering anything to those that are." I bet you might have seen that already. It's the graphics and the quotes that create that oh shit, she's talking to me response. And a lot of people respond when that happens. So maybe you talk about home organizing and you're going to call out your audience on buying tons of containers and storage baskets because they're just cute and fun to buy. Yeah, that's me. And now they have to organize their organizing materials. So quotes don't just have to be from famous people or super profound. They can just point out something that your audience is thinking or doing, or something they should start or stop. Kind of along the same lines, infographics did really well. These have charts or bar graphs, and some are serious with actual stats, and some are silly. I shared a bar graph on what helps me to show up consistently, and it included 5 things that worked, and then the 6th thing was scrolling for inspiration, which I put at a 0. Everything else was like 30%, 40%. Scrolling, 0%. And what do you think most people commented on? Scrolling. So infographics work because they're eye-catching, they're savable, they're easy to understand, and they're easy to take action on. You can give your audience specific steps in a visual way so they don't have to read through a whole caption or figure something out to get the action steps. And give you a little extra tip here. If you are stuck for what to put on an infographic, you can literally just Google stats on blank and a year. So stats on women in business 2021, stats on education 2021. Type in the top keywords for your niche, toss the year in there, and see what comes up. And you will probably find lots of articles with research and data that you can turn into graphics. Next up is Reels. Yeah, obviously they are getting the most reach right now because Instagram is pushing that type of content. But I did have a few Reels that worked better than others. One was a set of 3 videos that I originally posted on TikTok, and since it was 3 minutes on TikTok, I had to break it into 3 pieces to post on Reels. And I wasn't too sure about whether that would work. Would people still watch all the videos? Would it work best if I posted them all at once or posted them on my regular, every other day schedule? So I decided to just get it over with, posted them all at once since Reels currently don't auto-post, so I couldn't schedule them in advance. So I was like, we'll just post them all at once, see what happens. And it turns out that was the right move because instead of getting maybe 2,000 to 3,000 views, these videos got 8,500 views. That was the first one. The second one got 3,800 views, and the third one got 4,900 views. So I will definitely be creating more content for Reels going forward and not worry about starting something on TikTok and then splitting it into pieces for Instagram. I also found that videos with trending sounds or music didn't do as well as content where I'm just talking, teaching, sharing advice. Like the videos where you act out something with a voiceover. I didn't love doing that anyway, so I'm okay to skip those going forward because they didn't really get as much traction as I thought they would. And then the post that earned me the most follows was the one where I talked about my open enrollment that made $0. That was not the most fun content to create, but it did really, really well. And it was just a selfie with a title on it, and the caption sent people to my podcast for all the info. The reach wasn't even really great on that, and I didn't get a lot of views from hashtags, but I still got a ton of followers, a ton of comments, which were all really nice, and a whole bunch of people clicking over to my profile and my website. So if you've got some tough stuff that you've been thinking of sharing, or vulnerable stuff, or negative stuff, it's definitely worth a shot because people like when you show up as a human. Now, let's talk about things that did not do that well. First up is going live and reposting the recording to IGTV, which is now just videos. Hosting the lives was awesome. It was fun. It was great for giving people a little taste of what it's like to learn from me. And I love to show up and answer questions. And that in-the-moment interaction is really energizing to me. But the recordings I posted as IGTV videos didn't really get much reach or engagement. So what I would maybe do instead is to download that video. So do the live, download the video, chop it into Reel-sized or TikTok-sized pieces, and repost it that way. Longer videos are great for people who already know you because they're more likely to watch more of the video. But when you're using Instagram to grow your audience, shorter video works better. And if you do want to teach longer trainings, you can host it as a workshop or a webinar, have people sign up, get on your email list, and then teach via Zoom because they're more likely to pay more attention. One other thing I want to mention about this is that Instagram just announced that you will be able to add a badge to your lives so that when people are watching, they can essentially tip you. This is something I love about TikTok. allowing creators to make money directly from their content without having to create sponsored posts or do partnerships or sell a product or service. This is why a lot of people are showing up on TikTok. So I will definitely be testing out some IG Lives with that badge to see how it works and see if it's a good use of my time. But you can bet I'm going to be paying attention to the data, because if I'm making like $10 for showing up live, that's not going to be worth it for me. Another thing I was a little surprised by is that my audiograms and my cute little podcast graphics didn't do that well. Audiograms are those graphics with like the wave bar that moves with the audio. And what I found is that posting a photo, a selfie, or a carousel and talking about the podcast in the caption did better than a graphic with a podcast player or with audio attached to it. So as much as I love how those graphics look, I'm not making them anymore. Instead, I will be testing photos of me with text on the image to see if that helps people move from Instagram into podcasts a little bit easier. And this may mean that I'm focusing more on sharing podcast episodes to stories, because I can include a link right on the post. Okay, last big observation is that all of my cute, bright, colored leopard print background graphics didn't do as well as the ones with a white background. Wah, wah. So as much as I personally love the way they look, and I believe in showing up in a way that feels like it represents your personality or your style, doing things your own way, I am not trying to sell to myself. So as much as I like them, I still have to pay attention to what people are responding to, which means I will be adding in more white background graphics to see if they start performing better. Now let's talk about how to audit your Instagram yourself. And it's not just Instagram. You should be doing this with podcast episodes, blog posts, YouTube videos, TikTok, emails, any type of content you are creating, any type of free content. So set aside time once or twice every year to track what is working. And you can just make it easy, throw the info into a Google Doc, or you can get fancy and do something in Airtable. So on Instagram, you're going to click into Insights. You're going to scroll down a little bit and click on Content You Shared to see your feed posts. Reels, Stories, IGTV, which is now just videos, all have their own sections. So you're going to look at the content from the last year, the last 2 years, depending on how often you do this, and adjust the dropdowns that are at the top of the screen to look at reach, comments, follows, shares, saves, website taps, whatever stats are going to be important to your goals related to showing up on Instagram. And then pay attention to the topics, what you're writing about, what types of images or photos you're sharing, which types of content do better on Instagram. So Reels, Stories, videos, feed posts, carousels. So many options. Thanks, Instagram. And then look at the least popular content as well. That is how I realized that it is time to give up my colorful grid and focus more on the white background images and selfies. And there isn't a least popular content button. There should be. That would be very helpful. But if you just scroll to the bottom, you'll see what's stuck down there with 0 likes, 0 comments, 0 follows. You can stop making all of that stuff. And then once you do have that info, all you have to do is create more content like your top 12 to 24 posts and less of the stuff that didn't get any action. It's really that simple. We tend to make content so complicated, but you should make more decisions based on data, because it's easier to sell to people who are already following and already paying attention than to be constantly searching for new followers. And yes, growing your audience is part of the strategy, but you also need to be making money. And that means connecting with your current followers and subscribers and creating more content similar to the stuff they are already responding to. So they will engage with you, they will see more of your content, and then they'll turn into clients or customers faster. And of course, if you are like, insights, content, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, join me in Dare to Grow. DareToGrow.co. It is my monthly membership, so you can stay as long as you like, and I can help you figure all of this stuff out. I've got trainings on all of it. All right, if you have not already done so, take a minute right now and add a task into your calendar so that you can do your own content audit. And if you have already done this, I would love to hear what you learned. So find me on Instagram at XOSarahMorgan and let's discuss. All right, thanks for hanging out with me this week. I will talk to you again soon. Oh, and one more thing before I go. If you have any questions on anything we talked about today, or if you are looking for help to market and grow your business, head over to daretogrow.co. That's daretogrow.co, and join us in Dare to Grow. It's my membership for solopreneurs looking to simplify their marketing, show up with confidence, and finally grow their online business. You will get instant access to all of the trainings, the twice monthly coaching calls, our monthly planning and goal setting call, and our super supportive Facebook community filled with solopreneurs just like you. Seriously, it's so good. If that sounds like something you need, link is in the show notes or visit daretogrow.co, and I will see you inside.